according to you?
Doing Heritage Month as well as radio, according to you, at all times. Looking at time, it is exactly 54 minutes after the hour of one, and we are left with about 5.5 minutes till we take it to the top of the hour. Just waiting for my guest to quickly unmute herself so that we can most definitely be in conversation. Really excited, I have to say, for this interview. I am with Usis Tiny on the other side of town. Really, really, you guys do not understand that I've been waiting for this interview. We were supposed to have the Vicky Pelileyo, but due to some technical problems that we had on the side of town, we had to postpone. And I'm happy even that we actually postponed to namhlanje kula feature yami eating hashtag fetch your line ambolanda ubomi bakho. And what better way, man, than with us, Tiny Fihlo. Sis Tiny, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule, Sako, for actually giving us those couple of minutes.
Likewise, glad to be here.
Thank you. Now let's definitely get into it. Could you kindly introduce yourself and tell us what you are doing?
Great. We are Yada Coaching. So we're a coaching practice that focuses on career transitions specifically. And by that, we mean that people usually are very good at defining what their career should be and what they want to follow. However, where there usually is a gap is when people make changes in their career. Either they take a bigger role, a step up, and at the next level, that's where people get a shock because they are not well prepared to get to the next level in terms of understanding what are the requirements to make it to the next level. Because what took you there is not going to make you successful. So we focus on people as they move in their career stages, how to do that better. The other side of the coin is that there are young professionals who are eager to start in the workplace. And we know that our education system doesn't prepare them to get into the corporates. They walk in with qualifications, very good qualifications and good attitude, but they get a shock of their lives when they get into the corporate. What we do, we try to provide a soft landing to our young professionals as they come into the corporate to know or to understand what is expected and how to set their career up for success right at the beginning. That's what Yada Coaching does.
Yeah. And just to quickly add on to entering the corporate world, I find that even with my friends and even in Amando and Dibazi, you find that the moment they step into the corporate world, you get the shock of your life. It's like you were never ready for this. You've got your qualifications, they look really good, they bagged. You just feel as if maybe I shouldn't have actually entered this world. Maybe I should have gone to a different career. And I feel as if that is where you definitely most come in. Now, what services do you offer, Izzy?
So e-services that really is center of it is coaching, but e-coaching for the young professionals takes two forms, right? Predominantly, we run group coaching sessions where we have 10, 20, or up to 50 of these young professionals in a session. But that is really determined by whether that group of young professionals have a similar need. Then they go through the program. We have a program that we run called New Beginnings. We take them through 6 very key pillars of what they need to be prepared for as they step into the corporate world. The other part of it is when we do this on a one-on-one basis, where a person has a slightly different need, or they might not need all of those 6 key pillars. Maybe there's 1 or 2 areas. Then we do the coaching one-on-one for them. And actually, the third piece is that what we're going to be introducing now in beginning of October up to mid of October is a concept of pay as you go, right? Out of the 6 modules that are defined in the program is that you can just get one. Perhaps there's one area that you're really, really struggling with. Then you just get that one module and then you go through it so that the services are accessible to a lot of people and accessible in the way that a person, a potential client wants it, so that it's not a one size fits all. Everybody has a way to consume our services to address their particular needs. Because aim really is we need to solve a problem at the core and not have a blanket approach, try and hit and miss. We go right into what exactly are you struggling with and give you a solution that will address that particular challenge.
All right. Now, Sister Tiny, there's something that I love actually when I was going through your profile. You've just started a new job and it's not quite what you expected. You've recently graduated and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're still insecure about your capabilities and so forth. Now, you find yourself sometimes, "Manqwala kuzo zonke izinto," okanye you say, maybe not so really. But I love how you actually unpack learning the nature of people at work, the human behavior, also coming in with the different tools to better manage yourself, such as self-awareness, authenticity, emotional intelligence. Something I want us to actually quickly talk about. I think emotional intelligence is better in all spheres of whatever career you have chosen. You find that you're focusing on work, but how can we actually manage ourselves better?
Great, a good question that you're raising. Into yokuqala, you need to understand yourself and have a very good sense of your own self-awareness. Uyazi into yoba zintoni izinto ezikutriggerishayo and how you behave when you are triggered.
Yes.
And
Triggers.
noba ungumntu onjani, usebenza bhetere njani, under what circumstances. I'll make a very simple example because most of these things come from there. Kukho abantu ababhiliva into yoba they are introverted, abanye ba-extroverted. So xa introverted, you
Mm.
don't tend to work very well kwii-bigger crowds zamanye abantu. If uyayazi loo nto leyo clearly, xa usiya emsebenzini, when you join the workplace, you're going to get a lot of people. You're going to be peopling. There's no question. There's no hiding from it. But how then do you set yourself up to deal with the people? Because umsebenzi wakho udepende kwabanye abantu. And
Mm.
extrovert, how do you work well with people who might be different to you? And there's going to be differences get that are really like physical, like I'm a woman, I'm black, and I'm going to work with males, and they might be Indian, they might be Asians. I'm going to be working with people from different backgrounds. And how then do I put myself out there and make sure that it's about the work that needs to be done, and in that I come across as an effective team player in that space. All of this is about understanding yourself and knowing yourself. And okwesibini, especially for young professionals, it divide from coming from the educational space to workplace inkulu in terms of how we behave. Just as students university, there's a way to behave ngayo and it's acceptable. Once we get to the workplace, kune decorum ku workplace, whether siyayithanda okanye asiyithandi na. And you need to be able to understand how do you relate with your peers? How do you relate with seniors? How do you relate with your direct manager? And then be able to then manage yourself in that space, knowing that you have to flex. You can't say, dim, 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 this is me, take me or leave it. It doesn't work like that in the corporate. You need to be able to adjust in order to work well with other people, and also make sure that you succeed as an individual.
Yeah. I actually even after this interview want to even post some of izinto endithetha ngazo kuni baphulaphula because I was just looking at them and I'm just like, personally, this is something that we need to actually start adapting, especially when we are within imisebenzi ngoba nyani ke we deal with abantu from a daily basis who actually have their own personalities. So you have to adjust. Cannot go around saying banga bagay ndingulo mntu ndinguye ke. They definitely have to accept me kuba ndingulo mntu ndinguye. Another point that I also actually definitely loved is recognize how to contribute effectively towards organizational results. It is not only about you and your job, yours is one piece much of the bigger puzzle working together. Let's talk about that quickly.
Oh, I love that part because that's I think one of the greatest. If you get it right, really it sets you apart. Okokuqala, there's three points. It's you that you bring into this cake. It's you, it's other people, and within the organization, right? Sithethile ke
Mm.
ngokuzazi kwakho your own self-awareness and working with other
Yes,
people. I'll
self-awareness.
make an example. You one, you need to understand that you matter. You need to understand that you bring value. Uyile esikolweni waqualifya, icompany ikufuna for those qualifications so that you can add value to the company, right? So umzekelo, soccer team, there's 11 players and they play different roles. All of those roles are needed. There's no role smaller or bigger than the other. If a goalie soccer team, there's trouble for that team, right? It's not going to achieve its objectives to win the game. So you might think you're a junior and your role is so small, but in the bigger scheme of things, if your role is not there, the impact is on the results of the organization. You create a role because there's a need for it. Watata wena because they saw something in you that's going to add value. So a mindset here too should be, it's not just a job. I got this job because I matter, I'm needed, I have value to bring. Therefore, for you, Kengo, is to understand how then do you bring about that value to the organization. And also how you play the game. Because if we midfielder and you don't do what the midfielder does and pass the ball and make sure your striker has the striker won't have a ball to kick to score the goals, and the team will not win the goal. So once you understand your role in terms of iqalaphi, iphelephi, inikezelaphi, then you are able to understand how you need to bring yourself and all of your gifts across to really perform well in that role and assist the rest of your team members to achieve their goals, therefore the organization to achieve its goals as well.
Yours is Tiny. I'm listening to you, how you're talking so passionately about what you're doing. I quickly want to find out for myself, even personally, what made you venture onto this career path?
I've
Wow.
sure for more than 20 years, I worked in the human capital management space, HR, in other words. And for the bigger part of that, I was in leadership development and graduate development. And I saw the gaps in terms of when the graduates come in, what they struggle with. And there's so much that the organization can do, but there are other things that I'm talking about now that many organizations don't even touch this. They will give you induction
That's
and
true.
help you and give you a buddy to work with and to train you and give you skills to actually get you started. But as in izinto, you need to have them even before you start in, so that as you walk in, you have a mindset ready to contribute. Now, ways are be successful. So I saw the gap while I was working over years, and my passion for people development. And in an organization, was you know that your role is defined and you can do so much. And I felt I needed to just step out and bring all of me as well to do this, to provide this service to other people. And I fell in love with coaching as far back as 2015. That's when got myself trained up and certified as a coach. And so I did the coaching while I was within the organization, working within the organization. But I stepped out really in 2019 to start my business and do this on my own, because that gave me enough latitude to do it the way that I'm passionate
Yes.
about, be in line with my vision and what I love best. My passion is for young professionals. I mean, right now we need those people. We need the young
We do.
professionals. We need the fresh thinking. We need the fresh energy in the
Yes.
organizations. But we are not fully geared up as many organizations to be able to tap into what they bring in. And now, so young professionals, I think zingena jaded organization. They're like, you know what, I just need a job. And it's not about that.
Mm.
Let's shift our
It's
mindset.
not
It's not
about
about a
this.
job. We want you and your skill and your contribution.
Ah, first things first, hayi ndifuna nje usebenza, ndifuna nje noba yintoni na, ndingandikani noba yintoni na. Change that mindset quickly.
Change that
Now,
mindset. Yeah.
on social media singanifumana phi?
So sifana Facebook as Yada Coaching, and sikhona naku Instagram, tiny underscore Yada Coaching. Sikhona that's my handle, and but we're Yada Coaching naku Instagram. Naku LinkedIn, we're there as Yada Coaching, and we have a website, www.yadacoaching.co.za. And I know especially when you tap into the space of young people, I'm on WhatsApp. We've got a Yada Coaching WhatsApp number that's easily accessible. If they will log in and get into your website and all of that, get us also on WhatsApp. Those are the main social media platforms that we are on right now.
Perfect. So at any moment, if one needs to talk to you, bazawukwazi ukufumana in all those social media platforms, especially when it comes to your website yakho, I think that's where they should definitely go. Bazawukwazi ukubona the services that you
Yes.
offer, kwakunye ke nabantu, testimonials zikhona abantu ndizibonile from different individuals bechaza uba ngaba ke how this coaching has assisted them in so many ways of them actually even coming out. Bakhona ke abantu ke nyhani emisebenzini, you find that they can't really come out of their shells. Mhlawumbi umntu uzawuthi udaliwe uba abe ngulo mntu uthuleyo, always focusing on what they need to do, always being told by yenza into ethile ayenza. But I think once they go those new beginnings zakho and the coaching that you offer, you find that they actually come out of their shells and they become abantu that they personally never knew that they could be a person who can actually voice out. Akwazi ukuthetha xa mhlawumbi into engayivisisisi kwasemsebenzini, because I do understand nasemsebenzini ke siba nayo laa nto kuthiwa ke ingcinezelo. You come into workspace, you're young, you're fresh, and sifika ke kukho sisithayini ngamanye amaxesha bazawusijamela uba yho kukho uphiwe othile. So nyhani ke at times we find ourselves not even really sure that should I be within this career space that I've chosen, or maybe mhlambi I'm not really capable of what I'm doing. So I'm really happy, man, to be having this conversation with you. Any last words from your side before we end it?
The last words really is that there is help. I think that's why we exist, and we're so grateful for this platform that also Ukirpes has given us to say to ebantwini ngokubanzi into yoba we exist. You don't have to suffer kwikarier yakho. You should have fun emsebenzini because that's your passion, and it doesn't have to be bad really. And we bring in insider insights because I've been through that. And I also share my own journeys in terms of what I went through, what I could have done differently, what I did differently, and what works in the place of work at this point in time. So really, we're here to help. And even on the going back to what you said on the website, from in fact, most of the time we give out free material for people to just get started. And sometimes by ebook, or sometimes by it's just a short write-up. Even we post say to the social media, we try to give, even if it's one thing you can take out of it. So that's our service. There's a lot of information that we can share, that we're starting to share, that we want to share. But really, the parting shot is that your career is your livelihood. You spend a lot of time at work, and that's what you love. That's what you're born to do, you're called to do. You better have fun in doing it.
Better have fun. You know, there's a quote when I get Vic Pele, of which I agree with it. We actually ngathi sihlala emisebenzini. And when you go home, it's just that you're going to visit because you're residents and on a daily basis. We spend them at work. Like from the morning till late, you just get to endlini, ukutya, ubona abantu, ulale. Again, it's the next routine. You're back at work for so many hours. So long again, we should really enjoy being at work. I think it's the one place whereby we can actually even come out of those shells and be really happy. Thank you so much, Sis Tiny, for joining us. But before I let you go, it's Heritage Month, and you know, ndinale nto ndithanda uyenza mhlawumbi ke, you never know, mhlawumbi siyazalana, Sis Tiny, you know. Cela nje
Okay,
uzithuthi.
just tweet.
Cela nje uzithuthi, you never know.
Oh
Please,
my
please.
goodness. Oh, okay. All right. Ndingumagatyeni, ndingumamali, ndingundondela, ndinkomo uzibomvu, ndinguhemshe, ndimlowo. Ndizalwa emanyabeni and
Huh?
yeah. Andiyazi siyazalana?
Asikazalani, suke bathembini nakwajola, so ayikadibani ncam 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 ncam.
Akadibani ncam. Mhlawumbi singazilanda.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nditshatela kwaThole, koNdlangisa, koGqagqana,
Okay,
koNkonjane,
okay.
olwandaluwelwa. Nditshatele apho kumsezweni am kwelo cala. Ayikasondeli
Halala,
nalapho?
halala.
Andisafuni sizalane mani.
I guess sayizama mhlawumbi mzala womzala, mhlawumbi somewhere somehow.
Mhlawumbi no-anti kamakhulu mhlawumbi.
Zingadibani. Oh, Manny,
Adibani.
thank you so much, man, for joining me today. And I have to let you go now. Looking at time, it is almost a 2:15. Thank you so much. And we wish you all the best, when, especially when it comes to the business that you have just started.
Enkosi kakhulu siyabulela makwande.
Makwande, Makwande, Makwande. Thank you so much, man, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone who joined us. I was in conversation now. What a beautiful interview I just had with this is Tiny MFIHLO as we were unpacking everything when it comes to the world of work, especially within the corporate world. She did mention Mangabeke, especially Tina Silulucha. Once we enter that world, once we tap into it, we find ourselves very lost, or we find ourselves within the darkness of asking, but am I really capable of what I have studied? According to qualifications, you've bagged all of them, they look really good. But once you're inside, are you ready for what you are actually going to be within? So, like I said, I'm going to be sharing some of the points that I personally have loved. We pay GA2 just after this interview. But for now, let's make sure that we do radio according to you.